Buenas noches, colegas. Buenas noches. Bienvenidos a todos a nuestro taller gratuito analizando casuísticas de nuestra especialidad. Como ya tenemos fecha para el examen de ascenso 2025, estamos realizando algunos talleres en los grupos privados, analizando casuísticas de nuestra especialidad. Ahora, tengo como meta poder realizar por lo menos una vez a la semana talleres gratuitos, analizando más casuísticas en nuestra especialidad. Mi nombre es Emanuel Piña, docente nombrado del área de inglés. Este año también me corresponde dar mi examen de ascenso. Afortunadamente me toca dar examen para la cuarta escala magisterial. Espero que todo nos vaya bien, colegas, en el examen. Y como siempre digo, colegas, la práctica hacia el maestro. Entonces, damos inicio a este taller, sin antes mencionarles, colegas, que siempre me han consultado sobre cómo ser miembros de mi canal. Una cosa es suscribirse, los colegas que están viendo la grabación de este taller, por favor, invito a que se suscriban al canal. Esto es gratis, colegas, que se puedan suscribir al canal y ser parte de esta comunidad muy bonita. También tenemos grupos privados de WhatsApp donde enviamos material, enviamos algunos ejercicios, obviamente de inglés, ¿no? Que son muy significativos y nos ayudan mucho para estar siempre frescos, ¿no? Para estar actualizados con algunos temas y con el idioma que enseñamos. Muy bien, colegas. Invito por favor que se suscriban al canal en YouTube. Ponen Hello You junto, Hello You Channel. Ya, ese es el nombre de mi canal. Contarles un poco cómo inició mi canal. En realidad, la intención era poder subir videos de todo un poco, ya sea cosas del Perú, algunos tutoriales, y también a la vez subía cosas de inglés, ¿no? Que ayudaban tanto a mis chicos para aprender el idioma, etc. Como pueden ver, una vez que ustedes pongan Hello You juntos, les va a salir esto, ¿no? En mi canal. Una vez que ustedes ingresan, hacen clic aquí, ahí va a salir mi foto, ustedes hacen clic aquí. Y en la parte de aquí donde dice videos, shorts, en directo, por ejemplo, ahora estamos haciendo un en vivo, en la parte que dice podcast, colegas, en la parte que dice podcast hay puros videos de nuestra especialidad. Como les digo, mi canal inició con videos de diferentes temas, ¿no? Videos de muchos temas. A mí me gusta mucho la numismática, temas variados, hablo del Perú y etcétera, de otros países. Y hay una sección que es específicamente para los docentes de inglés, aquí donde dice podcast. Si ingresan en la parte de videos, también hay una zona de podcast, es ahí donde deben hacer clic, colegas. Una vez que hacen clic ahí, les va a salir toda la lista de videos. Poder ingresar a esos videos es gratuito. Ok, colegas, hay videos donde, como pueden ver aquí, hay un montón de videos de nuestra especialidad, analizando exámenes de nombramiento, exámenes de ascenso, también algunos videos de algunos conceptos generales, algunos videos de analizando algunos exámenes de ascenso y nombramiento, como había mencionado. Ahora, dentro de esa lista también existen videos que los he generado para solo los miembros. Como pueden ver, si ustedes ya son miembros, van a tener acceso a estos videos. ¿Y a qué se refiere, no? ¿Qué contenido tenemos en estos videos? Son full análisis de casuísticas. Pueden ver videos, miren, de 2 horas, 2 horas, 2 horas, 1 hora y media, videos, talleres de 3 horas, analizando full casuísticas en nuestra especialidad. Podríamos decir que tenemos más de 24 horas solo analizando casuísticas de nuestra especialidad. Y es fácil, colega, simplemente en la opción de su ventana, en cualquier video, les va a salir la opción de ser miembros. Simplemente siguen los pasos y por el costo de 4 soles tienen acceso a esos videos, a esos talleres con bastantes horas, colegas. Pueden estudiar un día una hora, otro día otra hora. Estamos a tiempo para repasar y estar frescos con el análisis de las casuísticas. Muchas casuísticas están explicadas en español, otras están explicadas en inglés, así como vamos a hacer el día de hoy. El día de hoy vamos a hacer las casuísticas solo en inglés. A veces hacemos un mix, pero el día de hoy vamos a hacerlo solo en inglés. Eh, Espero obviamente su participación, colegas, y nos estaríamos viendo aquí el próximo domingo o en el transcurso de la semana estaré compartiendo a los grupos privados sobre talleres gratuitos, sobre más talleres gratuitos. ¿Ok, colegas? Muy bien, entonces recuerden que el costo para ser miembros es solo 4 soles al mes y tienen más de 24 horas de videos analizando casuísticas de nuestra especialidad. Muy bien, colegas, espero que por favor primero se puedan suscribir a mi canal y luego tienen la oportunidad, sería excelente que puedan ser miembros del canal. Muy bien, colegas, y así la comunidad crece. Perfecto, colegas. Ahora sí pasamos al análisis de nuestras casuísticas. Okay, my dear colleagues, let's start. As you know, my name is Emanuel Pina. We are English teachers, and today we are going to practice some cases in English. Now we have the day to for our exam, and it's time to practice, my dear colleagues. As I said before, practice makes perfect. We have some strategies and tips to get to the right answer. You know, if you follow those strategies and tips, I'm totally sure it will be easier for you to get to the final answer. Okay, recall this. And here we have the strategies. First of all, when you analyze a case, take into consideration the constructivism. What is the constructivism of your colleagues? You know, the students must be the main character during the lesson. There is the structure student, student, student. In a traditional education, we used to have that structure, teacher, teacher, and teacher. As you can see here, the main character, well, in that occasion was the teacher. But now we want our students to be the main character during the lesson, the previous activity, during activity, and post activity. Now, the second strategy that we consider to analyze the cases is the stages. The first stage, the second stage, and the third stage. Why? If you understand the stage, it will be easy for you because we can find some activities that are related to that state. For example, if we find the vocabulary warm up, let's imagine that we find here warm up. Definitely, if we want to follow a logical order during the lesson, we will find that activity, that term, at the beginning of the lesson. Okay, we recall it. Nice. What about the third stage? Normally, if we find the vocabulary, reflection, metacognition, if we find the vocabulary, the product, for example, to summarize something, definitely, if we find that vocabulary, it will be easier to understand that we are in the third stage. And what about the second stage? Definitely activities that we can develop. We attack the skill, we attack the material. For example, mm, true or false statements, yes or no questions, comprehension questions, could be matching exercises. We attack the material. Okay, let's imagine speaking. We practice the dialogue. That's in the second stage. But what about the third stage? We want to create a new dialogue, our own dialogue. Okay, what we call it. For that reason, it's really important to take into consideration these stages. Nice. What about the third strategy, developing of the skill? Well, in this case, we have to consider the average. If the case is asking, for example, to develop, the teacher wants to develop their writing skill. Let's imagine that. So we have to look for an alternative. that is working with that skill. Let's imagine here that the alternative is working on listening and writing, speaking and writing, or could be reading and writing. You can say, teacher, but that's okay. I can work that in that way to develop writing skills. Yeah, perfect. But in the cases, we have to be objective. If we were 100% of the alternative of the class with writing, because the case is asking for writing, so that's our final answer. Okay, my colleagues, take that into consideration. And the final word, keywords, yes, let's imagine if the case is asking for the best alternative, for the wrong alternative, the least appropriate alternative. Yes, be careful with those kind of cases. They are tricky cases. Okay, my colleagues, it's really important to follow these strategies. Most of the exercises, most of the cases, if we follow those strategies, we will be able to answer the correct answer. Okay, the correct alternative. Nice. Talking about the keywords, yes, we have to attack the topic as well. For example, I want my students to create a poster about pollution. Perhaps one group um, just work with pollution or the pollution in rivers. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. But I want them to use more information or to develop more the activity with a general concept to attack more information about pollution. Okay, because in that case, that will be the best alternative to work with our students. When we attack more the keywords. Okay, definitely inside the alternative, we will find words or keywords that are close to the teacher's aim or that are far from the teacher's aim. Can we recall it? Take that into consideration. Nice, keep in mind. Okay, my dear colleagues, any donation for the channel, for these free workshop, please, here you have the QR. This is my wife name. Yeah, don't worry, this is my wife name. That will be the dynamic, my dear colleagues, to continue with some cases, okay? Here you have the key, QR. Any donation will be great, my dear colleagues. Nice. Let's continue, my dear colleagues, with case number one. Let's read it together. Okay, here we go. Before a listening activity, the teacher asks the students if they know what machine learning is and how it relates to artificial intelligence. What answer is not based on prior knowledge? Letter A. I remember from our computer science class that machine learning is a subset of AI where the system improves through data rather than being explicitly programmed. Mhm. Letter B. Well, I've watched a few documentaries and one of them explained how AI includes a lot of things like speech recognition and robotics. And machine learning is a method it uses to learn from patterns. Letter C. I just Googled it now, and it says machine learning is when machines learn from data without being programmed. So I think it's like a tool inside AI. Okay, my dear colleague, uh, we follow some strategies. The beautiful question, of course, if you had to dismiss one alternative, what would it be? But in this case, well, here it is asking for, it is not based on prior knowledge. Can we recall it? For future cases, it's our responsibility to identify some keywords. For example, here, AI. For future cases, perhaps it is the case is working on computers, for example, or cell phone. Yeah, that's okay. But perhaps it is not related to artificial intelligence, to be exact. Let's not recall it. So keep in mind the keywords as I said before. Now, the keyword here, prior knowledge. What is prior knowledge, colleagues? Yes? So we have to keep that in mind. And definitely here, the keywords before and not vase. It is not vase. In your exam, please take notes. You can write in your exam, yeah, take notes and try to understand the teacher saying in that case. Okay, you know the dynamic college, you have 1 minute to analyze it individually, then we will analyze it together. Okay, my colleagues, go ahead. You can start. Okay, my colleagues, let's analyze it together. Please, what is your final answer, my colleagues? What is your final answer? Please, you can write in the chat box your final answer. A, B, or C. Don't worry, we will analyze it together after your answers and explain a little bit more. Yes, why is that yes? Mhm. Okay. Thank you very much, colleague here. What about the rest? What do you say? What is your final answer? Hey, thank you very much, colleague here, PT, colleague Valeria. hmm What about the rest? If you agree with that answer, hmm yes, definitely you are right, colleagues. Mhm. First of all, this is a common case. This is a common word, common concept that you will find during your exam. Prior knowledge. First of all, we have to keep in mind that prior knowledge is at the first part of the lesson. It is the first stage. Okay? And what is prior knowledge? Prior knowledge is how much, well, we want to know how much do you know about the topic? Yeah, to introduce the topic. So please tell me your experiences about that topic. How much do you know about that topic? Okay, but we call it that's prior knowledge. Come to the class, your ideas about how much do you know. Excellent. So when letter A, of course, here the student says, I remember. So definitely those are his or her ideas. Can we recall it? Yeah. So here definitely it is a prior knowledge. Nice. That's correct. Yeah. There is prior knowledge. Nice. Congratulations. So, but the case is not asking for the correct alternative. For that reason, we have to dismiss letter A. Now, between letter B and letter C, definitely here the final answer is letter C. Mhm. For future cases, it is really common to find twins alternative. We can recall it. It's really common because they are similar. Well, I've watched, so that's a previous experience. Yeah, he mentions or she mentioned something about that he, well, in that case, had watched. Yeah, in that case. Yes, so in that case, yes, it is prior knowledge. Yes. So, final answer here, I just Googled it now. So, he or she finds the information, yes, on the internet. That is not prior knowledge. Let's imagine that he or she opens his or her book. The same situation. Teacher, here is the information. No, that's not prior knowledge. Remember, prior knowledge is how much do you know or bring into class your previous experiences about the topic. Now, you remember the topic. You are familiar with the topic. Now let's attack the topic during the activity. Okay, my colleagues, for that reason, the final answer in that case is letter C. Yes. Tell me, my good colleagues, do you have any question? Do you have any doubt, my good colleagues, about that case? Is it clear now, my good colleagues? What do you say? Clear now. What do you say, my good colleagues? Was it easy? Was it difficult? Yes. Perhaps it is easy. Yes. Because you are English teachers and you are familiar with this general concept. But let's remember, when you are in front of these kind of cases, remember to Underline. Yes, underline the key word here in the final question. Perhaps you can say, "Oh, that's prior knowledge, so that's my final answer." No, that's not the case. Be careful with that. Okay, we call it. Nice. Yes, colleagues, are you ready for the second case? Do you have any question? Is it clear now? What do you say? Please write in the chat box. Please, colleagues, we are English teachers and try to share the link uh, for to others. Yeah, and yes, and we can practice together. Hmm. Yes, colleagues, is it clear? Nice. Congratulations, my colleagues. Let's continue here with, yeah, thank you very much, colleague Larry. Let's continue with case number two. Okay. As I said it before, my dear colleagues, any donation, any guest that you want to share with the channel, it will really great, my dear colleagues. Remember, this is my wife name, don't worry. Yes, we will continue with more free workshops week by week. Okay, my dear colleagues, send your donations. Yes, they are really important to keep on with these kind of activities, these free workshops. Nice. Remember, if you have any question about some general concept, teacher, I would like to know more about PPP. I would like to know more about tax-based learning. Teacher, I would like to know more about blended learning. Teacher, I would like to know more about inquiry or inquiry depends on the British American English. Inquiry learning, based learning, please tell us. Yeah. Okay. Yes, that's the idea of these free workshops to discuss some general concepts here together. Okay, my colleagues. Yes. Nice. Let's continue, my colleagues, with case number two. Case number. Let's read it together. Okay. This is a common case as well, talking about oral fluency. This is a classic, we can say a classic case with the exams. And now you have to be really familiar with that concept in order to get to the final answer. Let's read it together, colleagues. Brazil's students have prepared a personal narrative describing a meaningful experience, and they are about to deliver it orally. She wants to prioritize oral fluency during this activity. Which of the following sets of instructions will be the least appropriate to give before students deliver their oral presentation? Letter A. Practice retelling your story with a partner. Focus on keeping the flow of your speech even if you make mistakes. Try using fillers like you know or well if you need thinking time. Letter B. Record yourself presenting the story and analyze your speech for hesitation, pronunciation, and how many times you repeat words. Rewrite your script to eliminate errors and rehearse again. C. As you present, concentrate on connecting your ideas smoothly, using discourse markers like then, after that, and so. Don't worry too much about small grammatical mistakes. Just keep speaking. Nice, really interesting, my dear colleagues. You know the dynamic. You have a couple of minutes, my dear colleagues, to analyze it individually. Then we will analyze it together. Okay, my dear colleagues, go ahead, you can start. Okay, okay, perfect, my dear colleagues. Let's analyze it together. Please, first of all, I would like to read your final answer. Your final answer, please. I'm asking for your final answer. Everybody writes in the chat box your final answer, my dear colleagues, please. What is your final answer? Letter A, B, or C? What do you say? Perfect, colleagues. Yes. I really like your answer, my dear colleagues. Yes. Remember, for future cases, it's our responsibility to identify some key words. Remember that. Uh, Here, for example, the keyword is the least appropriate activity. And as I said it before, perhaps you find some twins alternative. They are very similar. Yes. So, what comes to your mind when we say oral fluency? Yeah. Keep in mind that perhaps the definition or the alternative, they are correct. Yeah. Keep in mind, we can find some keywords that are close to the principal word here, oral fluency. Yes, and definitely here. Yes, and definitely here. Don't worry too much about a small grammatical mistake. Yes, that's something about oral fluency. Because if I care or if I'm worried about the grammatical mistake, so that is not oral fluency. That's accuracy. Okay, but we call it that's accuracy. Let's write it here. Yeah, and what is accuracy? Accuracy is related to check some mistakes. Is if I stop my oral production. So I want to improve it. Definitely, I want to improve it. So I'm looking for accuracy. Okay, my colleagues. So yeah, if I stop the practice, so that's not oral fluency. And most of the time, to improve or develop the oral fluency, it is in a short period of time. Okay, my colleagues. But teacher, to give extra material to my students to practice and practice and practice, yeah, in the future, obviously, they will improve their oral fluency in a long-term period. But remember, we have to be objective with the case. Here is asking to prioritize oral fluency during this activity. Okay, my dear colleagues. Normally, it is in a short period of time and with some pedagogical games, with interesting exercises, yeah. In that case, we have oral fluency. Yes. And we can find expression fluency with different skills as well. We can find reading fluency, we can find writing fluency, we can find listen fluency. Yes. So as much as you can listen, as much as you can read, as much as you can write, and we continue. Remember, it is in a short period of time, and most of the time with pedagogical games, or we can say by using gamification most of the time. Okay, and definitely here, I'm not saying that literacy is not the correct answer to work in class. Yeah, we can work in a different context, of course. Yes. Well, I mean the final answer, the least appropriate. Okay, let me call it. Yes, you are right, Colin. The final answer is letter B. So letter A and letter C, they are connected to the oral fluency. That's the best instruction, the best activity, well, here the best instruction to give, to prioritize oral fluency. Am I recalling? Yes. Try using fillers like you know. What is the intention? What is the purpose to use some fillers? Obviously, I don't want you to stop your oral fluency. That's the reason, that's the purpose about that instruction. Yes, so it is correct. And here the case is asking the list. What about letter C? Yes, you know here, discourse markers. What is the intention to use those discourse markers? Again, the same situation. They are twins alternative. I don't want you to stop. I don't want you to stop your oral presentation. For that reason here, the final answer is letter B. Mhm. Okay, teacher, but we can say that we find here high cognitive demand with the verb analyze your speech. Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. But in some way, to analyze something, you have to stop your oral presentation. Yes? Okay, okay. We can say that it's perfect for accuracy again. Rewrite your script. Hmm. How much time do you need to rewrite your script? So we change the skill. Yeah. Perhaps here in this case, we focus on writing. Yes. And eliminate errors and rehearse again. What is the meaning of the word rehearse again? Please, colleagues, write in the chat. What is the meaning of the verb? Well, in that case, the verb rehearse again. Mhm. Again, just due to the word again, we can say that it's opposite of oral fluency. Yes, because we have to practice and stop. Yes, colleague, thank you very much. Here rehearse is synonym for practice, and practice it again. Okay? For that reason, colleagues, the final answer is letter B. The case is asking for the least appropriate activity or the least appropriate to give. In this case, the least appropriate instruction. Yes. Nice. Congratulations, my dear colleagues. Tell me, is it clear now, my dear colleagues? Please write in the chat of my dear colleagues. Is it clear now? What is it, my dear colleagues? Is it understandable? Do you want more? One more? Mhm. Okay, perfect, colleagues. Okay, colleagues, are you there, colleagues? Can you hear me? Okay, muchas gracias, colegas, por su participación. Hemos analizado casuísticas de nuestra especialidad. Cada semana voy a tratar de realizar por lo menos un taller gratuito. Voy a estar enviando los links, también está siendo proyectado de manera en vivo en YouTube. Puedan compartir, por favor, que puedan compartir ese link a más colegas de inglés y así crecer la comunidad de nuestro canal. Muy bien, colegas, como había mencionado, cualquier donación para el canal sería excelente. Gracias por su participación. Poco a poco voy a ir subiendo el nivel de las casuísticas. Hay casuísticas donde son bastante literales, ¿no? Simplemente nos enfocamos en las palabras claves y ya. Si sabemos el concepto, perfecto. Y siguiendo las estrategias como les había mencionado, también es una gran ayuda para llegar a la respuesta final. Sin embargo, también hay casuísticas que nos llevan mucho a la reflexión. Tenemos que inferir. ¿Qué es lo que sucede? Que a veces hay casuísticas donde hay alternativas que las dos que nos quedan nos parecen muy apropiadas, pero hay que ver otros pequeños elementos, como el trabajo colaborativo, la participación constante de los estudiantes, que ataquen más el tema, que ataquen más la habilidad y esos pequeños conceptos. Ok, colegas, entonces nos estamos viendo la próxima semana, colegas, en nuestro próximo taller gratuito. Thank you very much, my dear colleagues, for your time, for your participation and your commitment with our mayor, and see ya next workshop, my dear colleagues. Thank you very much for your participation.